Throughout YouTube now, I'm sort of thinking back, and it's soon going to be 3 years I've been on YouTube. Well, no, no, it isn't. Soon going to be 19th. Been on YouTube now at this point almost 2 years, not three. Um, and I have changed a great deal as a player. My player basis was the same throughout most of my YouTube career, and it changed little bits at a time as you grow and had to adapt game to game. I started playing on World at War. World at War was a brand new game, and it was toward the end of World at War when I started my channel. It was actually about 3 months before Modern Warfare 2 came out. And during that period, there was two World at War commentators, since it didn't really commentaries were not as big as they are now. There was less following. There was about 10 of us all together, and about 6 of us were doing it seriously. As I can remember, for example, I know there was Hutch, Blame Truth, XCal wasn't. I'm not including him because he was on a hiatus at that point. There was Z7 Taylor. There was myself. C Nanners had just gotten into it. Sam Trout, Moody. I want to say I don't even know if Moody Sweet hadn't even got into it yet. Muzzafuzza, and it might be a couple more. That was the Blade was there. Blade was around in JX23. But that was the big who's who back in the day, and I kind of got into the game a little bit before everybody else, but I did a game that was kind of off the wall, so it kind of gave my channel a niche. World at War wasn't popular because all the other commentators that were in the Call of Duty genre preferred Call of Duty 4. I, on the other hand, hated Call of Duty 4. And the reason I hated Call of Duty 4 was mainly because of the way I played. I actually, when Call of Duty 4 was out, I did play it, but I played it in a different style than most people would have. Like, I wasn't a defensive player when I first started playing this game. I came from Battlefield as a sniper. That's what I did. I'd like to use the bolt action rifles, and I did that for Quad 4 and through most of World at War. It wasn't until the end of World at War that my buddy Z7 Taylor, which is the person that got me into the YouTube scene, started an account called I'm in the Bush, and I started an account called the Killer Bush. And the whole idea was to see how good of KDs we could hold without sniping and without, with just 100% trying, because me and Taylor were mainly search and destroy players, and we mainly sniped in search and destroy, not to get kill cams, because kill cams wasn't really popular back then. The reason I sniped in search and destroy was because it felt more authentic. Like, you shot the guy, he was off the map, he was done for that round. It's like you did your job. It felt like the sniper's role was more valued in a search and destroy situation, where a guy makes one mistake, you can kill him instantly for it. And that's just the way I liked and the way it worked. So yeah, we get into that, and Taylor got a shout out from Hutch, and he ended up getting 10,000 subscribers through Hutch's couple shout outs. And through Taylor, I ended up getting 10% of his audience. And that started me out with not 10%, about an 8 or 9% of his total audience. By the time Modern Warfare 2 came out, I had gained basically around, I want to say 8 to 950 subscribers in the first 3 months of my existence. And most of that came from me. It came from me making videos that people would want to see. But the fact is, every time I put a video out, I had almost a 100% conversion ratio. People wanted to watch my videos, and that was cool. It wasn't until later on in Modern Warfare 2 that I started just getting disheartened with it, and the trolls started coming. I think the best time I had doing this was that original 1,000 subscribers. That way, every time I put a video out, I was eager to see what people had to say. I was eager to talk to people. And you go through the whole nine, the whole spiel. And that was the most fun I've had doing, commentary. And the original goal to get into this was kind of an escape route. I was working at a company called Met Glass, and I foreseen that we were going to go into financial trouble. So I was looking for an escape plan because I hate working. I hated it. I'm not working in general. I hate working for a factory, working for the man. It's something I plan on never doing again in my life if I can help it. And I was using it as an escape route, so ended up getting laid off. And through the period of me being laid off, the machinima had started up. I'd actually, by the time machinima had started up, and through Modern Warfare 2, I had already gained 5,000 to 6,000 subscribers, which at the time was bolstering, because I came in through the original wave of Modern Warfare 2, and people found the game, people loved the game broke records like crazy. It was something refreshing that everybody wanted to see, and people enjoyed watching it. And me being the only person that put out continual content every day, I would put out 3 videos a day. It got me to the point where I had a steady fan base, and somewhere around the ballpark of 13 to 15,000 subscribers was when I seen a video when Machinima first came up, which was December of 2009. This was when Respawn first came up, of Hutch is your daddy doing sniper gameplay, because Hutch, I didn't really know anything about him as a person because I didn't really watch other commentators. The only commentator I mainly watched was E7 Taylor and C Nanners, but that was back when me, C Nanners, E7 Taylor were pretty much all small. I mean, for the World at War genre, up until Blame Truth and Hutch shouted out C Nanners, I was bigger than him, and it kind of kept on bases. We were all 3 part of Persona Gaming, which if you ever looked at my old videos, that was a side project that we were brung into. And the original thing with Persona Gaming was kind of like Team Noble. We were supposed to make money, we were supposed to do this and that, and none of it ever came to fathom. But I ended up using it as like a marketing-driven system. And Persona Gaming died shortly after I left, because C-Nan was the first to leave it as soon as he got popular. And I remember as soon as C-Nans got popular, I was like, "What's up, dude? You should give me a chance." And the other guy was Pyro Puncher. That's the other guy. Can't forget him. Like, C-Nans, you should give me a shout, because I was kind of hoping that C-Nans would help a boy out. And I still remember the message he sent to me. He's like, "I know you're eager to grow your channel, but I'm sorry at this time I cannot put you on my channel." And it was like, seriously? It's like, okay. But that was that, and eventually, back to the Hutch thing. I'm kind of like missing so many bases here. I watched his video, and he was giving sniping tips out, and I sniped a completely different way because I was still a sniper at this point, for the most part. Like, I still constantly pulled out the bolt action rifle, and I intervention throughout the early parts of Modern Warfare 2, and I enjoyed playing with him. And I see a guy. It was a video on Terminal. He ended up going 25 and like 10 or something like that. Didn't even get to the time limit, and he posted it on Machinima. And actually, no, that was wrong. That was incorrect. It was 30 and 17. That's what it was. And he was giving sniping tips out, and he's like, why would you tell people to do this? Because I didn't understand the concept of rushing and camping at that point. Because I played the way I played, and I played because when I came up through World of War, we played for one thing: we played to win the game. And if you won the game, you could talk shit. And that's, if your playing style dictated that, that's the way you played. That's what brought you success. And I didn't. This whole concept of you had to rush with a sniper was foreign to me, because I didn't even know Optic Nation existed at that point. But they were another commentator. I mean, I'm coming up through them as this, but. And through Hutch, I found these Optic Nation, and that's kind of when it kind of started going sour for me, like on the fan base wise. I stopped caring about what a lot of people had to say or opinions, because I had gotten so much hate from the Hutch fan base and the Optic fan base that it just made my skin really, really thick. And at that point, there was a couple of times there I was about to shut my channel down. It's like, fuck it, I'm tired of this shit. But see me, I'm hard-headed like a brick wall. If I don't like what you're doing, I will fight you for it. And I knew I could basically play better than most of these guys I was watching. This is going to be continued. I figured I could play a little bit better than most of the people there. And what happened was we started doing challenges for each other instead of having a pissing contest. But look here, do something and I'll prove it. And what ended up happening was Optic challenged me to get a nuke running around quickscoping, which I ended up doing on Wasteland. And basically I was allowed to use the chopper gun and whatnot, just like they did. Because I remember Hex sent me a message. It was somebody on somebody on Scrapyard doing it. And this is at this point I had around 40,000 subscribers, because the way I worked the Hutch thing, even though Hutch had Hutch didn't really send people himself. But the fact is his subscriber base was so loyal, like a pack of dogs. They came over to attack me, and instead of just getting mad at them, what I did was I tried to put out the best content I possibly could put out, and put out as much as I possibly could put out. So when they came over to hate on my videos, maybe they would see the video and like, man, this is actually pretty good. And that's exactly what ended up happening. It did a conversion ratio, and no, Hutch didn't have 400,000 subscribers at this point. He was at, I think, maybe 30, while I was at like 13ish, but it ended up skyrocketing us both. Hutch at the end of like February had broke 100,000, which was unheard of at the time, and I was falling around the 30,000 ballpark. And this is the same time that I started getting a machinima contract shortly after Hutch and them, and a guy named GFX Lab soon pulled up onto the scene, and I started doing dual comms with a couple guys known as FPS Kyle and Woody, and that was the start of that triad. And we kind of built a network around that, because we all quickly became friends, and like we seriously had to build a network in. And the network's basically like a series of things that you can fall back on and rely on, because it just makes more sense to run a network, and that's the way Optic Nation's run, that's the way most things are run, and I knew this to begin with. And at that time, host migration had fired up, and I really liked the idea of host migration. And I knew I had me, Kyle, and Woody, and the same thing here is I'm like, I can be more entertaining than these guys, and through that we made an attempt. And it's not to make an attempt to knock my host migration off. It was an attempt to give somebody a medium. You ever heard the term, Coke and Pepsi, Ford and Chevy? I wanted it to be the opposite of that. They had host migration. Host migration needed a sister company, and that was what we created at Painkiller already, to be like the sister podcast, which was actually the third podcast in the line, because Excalibur had just come out of hiatus towards the beginning of January, and him, Blame Truth, Pyro Puncher, and the whole nine basically started Gentleman's Choice. And there was a little part left out. How I went from 1,000 subs to like 4,000 or 5,000 subs was Pyro Puncher. Pyro Puncher had 10,000 subscribers, I think, 10 or 20, and yeah, I noticed he was watching my videos, and somebody pointed him out one time, and he was like, and I jokingly asked, like, won't you help me out, dude? And that was the only time I went on somebody's channel for strictly to promote my own channel, was with Pyro Puncher. And yeah, that's the only time it ever happened. Like, I fell right here, look at that. So where was I at? To create a sister company, and Painkiller already took off. And through no efforts of our own, host migration ended up breaking up. Which host migration was Hutch, C Nanners, and Trump. They didn't break up as like, we hate each other. They broke up because they just no longer wanted to do it. They got tired of it, which is understandable. I mean, even to this day, Painkiller Already is not a profitable venture, but we still enjoy doing it, and hopefully one day it'll become something greater, because now we're the #1 podcast on Podbean. I wish we had a bigger barometer to use, because I would like to see how good we actually are. But Painkiller Already has just grown the way it's grown. It kind of grew with our YouTube channels itself, and a lot of people like Painkiller Already more than our YouTube channels at this point. But through Modern Warfare 2, at the end of Modern Warfare 2, I had recently just passed. Toward the end of Modern Warfare 2, it basically got into the stale zone, which you're probably in right now in Black Ops. So people didn't want to play it, didn't want to watch it. But in the long run, it was still Call of Duty. It's what everybody knows. It's what everybody can relate to. So it ended up being that. So you have dead periods in that. And toward the end of Modern Warfare 2, I had earned around 26 million views on Modern Warfare 2, and it around 100,000 subscribers, and that was just constantly putting up 2 or 3 videos a day. One of the things I've always told myself is I'm gonna try to put up at least 1 video a day, and even if that video is me getting on camera and saying I can't put a video up and here is why, because one thing that I've always took is you never want to be forgotten. You can be hated, you can be loved, you can be laughed, you can be revered, but you never want to be forgotten. And one of the main influences here is Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh is hated by a lot of people, but he's also loved by a lot of people. And the fact is, he's always stayed in the game. Nobody's forgotten him yet. Somebody that people loved and maybe forgotten, maybe like Eddie Murphy would probably fall into that category right now. Everybody knows who Eddie Murphy is, but they don't think about him anymore now. Like, when's the last time you thought about Eddie Murphy? Bet you haven't for a while. You know who he is, but it's like, oh, I mean, I didn't want to go into that category. Everybody knew who Wings of Redemption was, but nobody remembered that he existed. So I tried to stay in the limelight in that kind of situation or scenario, and make sure that my the way I played stayed prevalent. And believe it or not, I was actually the first guy to lay the patent down like this. Not really the first guy. Blame Truth did it as well. A couple other guys did it, but I was the first guy to make it popular, like just 100% defensive play, and even coined the term defensive play. And I based my defensive play around my sniping game, because I've always been, quote unquote, a hard scoper, and I always played around with the way people ran, the routes they used, and that's how I based around back in World at War when me and Taylor wanted to come from I think I was a 1.49 KD player with a sniper, and I turned into around a 4 KD player with a regular gun. And the whole reason behind that was, instead of running around with sniper rifles and getting upset, we just planned out routes and picked the people off, took the easy kills. You always just make sure you're always winning the gunfight. You always have first shot, and that's pretty much the basis of the way I play for first shot. And a large reason of this playing for first shot is my internet connection, and sometimes it suffers. Like you'll see a lot of people asking me, why is so and so, why aren't you a 5 KD player if all you do is camp? Well, I like to camp in basically large high traffic areas, and sometimes my internet connection fails me if I'm caught off guard. Like, I probably could have got away from that with a good internet connection, but I didn't. Or so and so I'll be shooting so and so and he'll knife through me. I've even posted videos of my internet connection crapping out on me. And the internet connection didn't become a big deal or factor until Black Ops, when they took out stopping power. Mainly because that extra bullet was what always caught me around the corner, would always stop me from killing said guy. And I mean, I do have better internet connection than some people. I'm not gonna lie. Like, colleges have it rough. But like I said, this is going to continue on to another video. And that basically brings us to Black Ops. When Black Ops first came out, I quickly jumped on the bandwagon. I ended up getting the game early, and I got the game early through NASA 1. He got it through Fisticuffs. And basically, I took off to begin with. Like, one of the big concerns when Black Ops was coming out was the theater mode gonna help the little guy more than the big guy? And it turns out that the big guy just got bigger, just like all other enterprises, because we're easier to spot and we were easier to basically find. Because one of the big problems on YouTube isn't that the content sucks, it's that people find your video. I'm sure that my videos would have 100,000 views apiece if they were on the front page every time they came up, but a lot of it's just like people can't find your videos. That's why you see really good videos with like 100 views, because YouTube is a big site. It's got a lot of servers. But all in all, I was jumping off to the great start. Woody pretty much won the Black Ops lottery. His channel did the best, and then it was mine, and then X-Jaws was right behind me. And what ended up happening is I got burned out on Black Ops quickly. Like, I played a lot of Black Ops because my whole goal was to be 10th prestige on both consoles, which I still haven't achieved that at this point, mainly because PSN being down and having multiple accounts on the PSN and not really caring about getting 10th anymore on the PSN. But I am maxed out on the Xbox for a while now. But and I got burned out really quickly, and I kind of messed up and switched goals on my channel. Like, for example, I started playing, at that time it was probably right before Dragon Age 2 came out. I started playing Dragon Age 1 because I had started a Gamefly account. It was completely by accident. I was just looking for something else to do besides Black Ops. So when I uploaded a video, I would have something else to do, because this is the time before I actually had 2 internet connections, which was soon going to be coming up, and I started to take a more serious approach towards my gameplay in general. And I loved it. It brought me back to the days of my youth, playing Diablo 2 and playing StarCraft, campaign. I just fell in love with it instantly. I love the characters. I love the story. I wanted to hear everything about the story. I wanted to play 2 or 3 different classes. I wanted to try everything. I wanted to hear all the dialogue. I was obsessed with Dragon Age. It was one of the best RPG games I could remember playing. And besides Fallout, it's the last game in the last 10 years that I was really excited about playing for. There were certain games in my childhood I was really excited about when I went to play. Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy VII, games like this got me really excited when it's time to play them. It's like, oh yeah, I remember waiting to get off school to play Final Fantasy Tactics. It's exciting. It's like, yeah. And Dragon Age was like that. I couldn't wait to get gameplays done for YouTube to basically get on and be able to play Dragon Age. And I kind of switched the channel where I'm like, why not influence what I like into my own channel? But my channel primarily being a Call of Duty channel at this point, because I had tried to branch out before with Let's Plays during Modern Warfare 2 during the dry period in it, which is generally around April to probably the end of summer, which is end of summer is the dry period, right before the next Call of Duty comes out, because the hype goes from the current Call of Duty to the new Call of Duty, and it's starting to do that now with Modern Warfare 3 just being announced. And so I tried a couple Let's Plays there. I did a couple, and I actually created a channel for Let's Plays, and I did that. And I did Resident Evil, and I also did Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 is the only Let's Play I ever finished, because I pretty much was able to beat that game with my eyes closed back when I was a kid. And what am I saying here? So I started putting up Dragon Age 1 gameplay and stuff like that, and it kind of hurt my channel. It hurt my channel bad. Like, the guys that sub strictly for tips and shoutcasting tips and tricks for Call of Duty were leaving, and a lot of the things went away. And during that time is when basically FPS FPS Russia started getting really popular, And during that time, the giveaways started getting popular. People like Xjaws and White Boy found a niche in the YouTube system to always get their videos at the very top, and they were able to stay on top of that for at least 2 or 3 months. And this was just recently, and they jumped from they flew by me in subscribers. Now they're sitting at 3, 4, and 500,000 subscribers, or in FPS Rush's case, which he had a different demographic than those two. He's at 800,000 subscribers. And I mean, I continue to grow. Like, I'm at 235,000 subscribers now, which about 15% of my fan base actually watch my videos, but that's pretty much the norm around YouTube, unless you're certain people. And even then, those certain people, the best they're going to get is like 20-25%. And it's kind of disheartening at times to to put so much effort into a channel and only see like 10% of your viewers actually watch your videos. It's a long shot from what it used to be when I had like a 99% view ratio. If I had 950 subscribers, I had 950 views, and my content has pretty much stayed the same the entire time. Like, I mean, I stayed true to my roots. I've always spoke my mind, and I think speaking my mind is what actually hurt me the most, because I'm not the most subscribed commentator online, but I will say that I am the most known commentator online. I'd go so far as say I'm up there in the ballpark of a C. Nanners and a Hutch. And the reason being is everybody might not like me and might not want to watch my videos, but a lot of people know about me. And being known is just as good as being popular, at least in my book. That's a lot of reason why serial killers do what they do, because you don't have to do something great to be famous. Like, everybody knows a Ted Bundy or a John Wayne Gacy or something like that, but these are bad analogies. But because my unsubscriptions from my channel was something along the lines of 450,000. So if you count every person that's ever subscribed to me, I'd have around 600,000 subscribers myself. And a lot of that, comes from people Hutch and this. Some people get tired of it. Some people get tired of me spamming their inbox. But it's just the way I've always done my channel. I've always felt like if I don't put out at least 2 videos a day, I'm cheating somebody. Because at this point, one of my jobs I do for a living is playing video games. And it's a very rewarding job, and it's a very fun job. Every time I see somebody else, talking about on the phone about I'd like an extra day of work or like this, and like begging somebody else for hours, I sit back and just happy that I don't have to do that. I don't have to beg somebody for hours. If I want to put work, I go out there and I do extra work. I go the extra length getting an extra video out. And living like that is something I was trying to avoid, and I have actually reached that means at this point in my life where I am my own boss for the most part. I mean, nobody comes to ask me when's a video going to be out. Nobody comes and asks me what are you doing with your videos. I mean, there's different mandates and stuff like this, but for the most part, I have 100% content creative control over my channel and what it does. And I love that, and it's a great feeling. And as for a job, it's helped me branch out into other fields of work, and it took a while, but like I said, if you do what you love, the money will come, and that's exactly what happened. I've always loved video games. I've always been really good at video games. Any video game I've ever took the time to learn how to play, I've excelled at, to the point where I could be recognized as one of the greatest players in said game. And it's just something I've always done and took pride in, because I've never been physically a monster. I've never been physically overpowering of another guy. It's just me. I've been good at video games. Even before I got YouTube, I was known in my friend circle as the guy that was good at video games. And one of the main reasons I've been good at that is because I pride myself in being good at video games, and it's something that comes along with a channel. What a lot of people I see doing, they're creating these YouTube channels because they see the success that comes with it, And a lot of the people that actually got success through these YouTube channels did it because they enjoyed video games, and that's the core right there. Do it because you want to do it, and if you're any good at it, the money will be there, the notoriety will be there, and that's the fundamentals of the game. People want you to enjoy what you're doing, even if you're unhappy with a certain game, even if you're playing a game you don't like. If at your core you detest doing what you're doing, or you're not giving it your all, it shows. Peace.